Welcome to Her Time, Her Rights. We will be talking about all the changes that have been happening throughout this year, including equality, maternity leave, rights to vote, divorce laws, and other groundbreaking news, as well as what caused those changes. Here to help me is Nellie McClung, a famous Canadian author, politician, and social activist.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here and discuss more about women's rights and the suffrage movement.
Firstly, Nellie, do you know anything about equality now and how women are being treated compared to men?
Well, good news. I do know that women were finally given equality with men in 1928, when legislation brought equality in inheritance rights and employment, as well as established for all benefits. Additionally, the right to vote and the rights for women to be elected as part of Parliament was made permanent.
Wow, that's amazing. I also heard that in 1921 in British Columbia, the first maternity leave legislation was passed, and women are now given 6 weeks of paid leave, as well as women finally won the right to vote in federal elections under the same conditions as men.
So true. 1921 was a pretty big year for women, but 1925 also came with tons of changes. Although some women were eligible to vote, others weren't. But after 1925, women over the age of 25 were also granted the same rights. Additionally, federal divorce laws now allow women to obtain a divorce on the same grounds as men.
I did notice that you are tall to the bricks and are looking very spiffy.
Thank you very much. I am wearing Coco Chanel, which I think leads us to our commercial break.
Coco Chanel has just released a ton of the new clothes. Hurry on down to our very first boutique, Chanel Mode, for our spring collection. Introduced by Gabrielle Coco Chanel, the Chanel suit has become one of the most famous and recognizable pieces of clothing in the 1920s, along with a little black dress titled the Ford of the Fashion. As it became known, the LBD became a global hit.
Can you tell us more about the Chanel suit?
Yes, of course. Inspired by menswear and the sportswear, the two-piece set was not only a game changer, not just for fashion, but for women's liberation. When designing this piece, Gabrielle was needing to free women from restrictive corset and a long skirt of previous decade. Therefore, she came up with a slim skirt and a collarless jacket made of tweed, a fabric that was then considered unglamorous.
Wow, Coco Chanel is the big cheese. I've also heard about the little black dress being referred to as Chanel's Ford, referring to the widely popular teen model truck. In other words, it was a piece so simple it could be accessible to any shopper, making it a global hit.
I too have heard about the LBD. It is the perfect garment of clothing. Also, a big thank you to Coco Chanel for coming to our show and promoting their new brand.
Yes, thank you so much. Moving on, Mia, I feel that we have touched on almost all of the major topics within women's rights in the 1920s. Maybe we should inform our listeners about how these changes came to be.
You're right, Nellie. One of the main reasons these changes came to be was because during World War I, women took on roles traditionally held by men, proving their capabilities. Their contributions reinforced the argument that they deserved political rights, and there was another big reason why these changes came to be. But I think I should let you speak about that, Nellie.
Thank you, Mia. The women's suffrage movement had been campaigning for the right to vote since the late 19th century. Their actions led to women gaining the right to vote in elections in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, followed by the other provinces. Myself and other women like Emily Stowe and Louise McKinney all led this movement by forming organizations, giving speeches, and petitioning against the government. The suffrage movement in Canada was deeply linked to broader social reforming efforts, including women's education and legal rights.
Well, Nellie, you're such an inspiration. Thank you and the girls for all that you've done for us. But as for now, we are done with the updates. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time on Her Time, Her Rights.